So doing that and playing guitar and being interested in it like that, it kind of made me like want to write music on my own. So I did, didn't know what to do with it. Didn't know, where to put it. Didn't know to record it. So, after that, after high school was done, went into computer engineering at Cal Poly. Wasn't with it. Decided to go to music industry studies at Cal Poly. Wasn't really with the program that much, but I started making music about 2015. Well, actually recording my music and producing and doing stuff like that. So I had done that from my various inspirations and just from playing in band and playing in bands throughout, adolescence and childhood. So that's it.
Okay, beautiful. That was a very good monologue you just put there. So what would you say are your favorite or most influential artists that you listen to of all time? Starting from what you first started out with to who you listen to now for inspiration.
Man, when I first started out, honestly, the weirdest thing, I was playing metal most of the time on my guitar. But that's not really much of an inspiration for my music now. But it was a big thing that made me want to play guitar because it was cool. Like it seemed like a cool thing to be able to like play some crazy, really tough sounding riffs and stuff. It wasn't to impress anybody. It was just because I thought it sounded cool. So, but as in my musical influences now, I would have to say some of my biggest influences is definitely number one, Toro y Moi, Chaz Bundick from North Carolina. Homie's electronic funk and dubbed invention of chillwave back in like 2009 to 2012. He was a huge influence, especially coming into high school. I listened to him a lot. Tame Impala, of course. My sister put me onto them. My sister was big into the indie scene back in like 2010, 11 when I first started high school. She put me onto them back on their album Inner Speaker, and I was hooked on that. And that had me tight. Tyler. Definitely Tyler.
When you say Tyler, I want to clarify, you mean Tyler the Creator, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so Tyler the Creator. Odd Future in general, every artist that's coming out now has to have some sort of influence from Odd Future. It's like being a rapper back in the mid '90s and saying I was never influenced by Wu-Tang Clan. Get out of here! Like you're not. Like everybody's influenced by Odd Future a little bit.
Okay, I'd say that's a pretty fair assessment to make. So going off of that, what I really enjoy about your music and your repertoire is that it's not restricted to one genre.
Yeah.
You are also part of, you make solo music, that's correct, right?
Yes.
And aside from that, you're also part of a band in and of itself, is that correct?
Yes.
Would you like to describe that band for me?
Lisa Kira.
Yes.
Lisa Kira is a band based off of three guys. Primarily the founders, me, homie Brandon Cortez, and the homie Jacob Sanchez. We met together at Citrus College in the audio engineering program, and we're basically, the band itself is based out of West Covina. We're making indie music, indie pop, R&B, rock, basically, the staple genre of what indie would be, but the band hasn't been as active as of late because we've all been, doing our own thing most of the time. But we used to throw shows and do stuff like that in Jacob's backyard, my homie's backyard, and it was pretty good for us. Like, we were getting notoriety. The first single that we ever put out that, I had produced is almost at 10,000 plays now on SoundCloud, which for a band that has nothing out at all recorded, we only play live shows, is a little crazy to me. So
where can people find this?
You can find that on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Lisa Kira, spelled LISAKIRA.
Okay, interesting. So tell us about the struggles and strifes that you had, maybe as an individual musician, maybe as a member of a large conglomerate or part of a band. What were the instances that you had, that the trials and tribulations you had to overcome in order to get to places where you are today that you were proud of overcoming? Does that make sense to a question to ask?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the biggest things for sure to overcome when having a band was not letting your influences bleed out of you so easily. Because that was definitely, like letting your influences obviously, bleed out in your music. It's like you sound like a copy of so and so.
Oh, so letting it show.
Yeah. You don't want to let that be obvious. You want people to be like, oh, I hear a little bit of this in there, I hear a little bit of this in there, but you don't want anybody to directly compare you to somebody else. Like that's never a good thing.
That's interesting. On that note, that kind of reminds me of the submergence of, over the past couple of maybe 9 or 10 years or so, the emergence of tight beat rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, what would you say? You're obviously not one of those people.
Yeah.
What would you say differs you from being a tight beat rapper or a tight beat producer?
Man, so the misconception. So with tight beat producers, when you go on those YouTube links and you type in, let's say J. Cole, Kendrick, Playboi Carti, tight beat, like what you're doing is those people are beast leasers. Those people are trying to lease beats out online to make money, and they're going to make something that's similar and use that tag because that'll get them more views on their YouTube, get them more traction and more foot traffic on their website. So most of those dudes that do that are grinding out like 30 beats a month, like at least making a beat a day. And to me, the difference is those are very formulaic. Those are very formulaic, like, excuse me, but a very formulaic way of like making music. And it's kind of not my thing. And also I've always strived on not sounding like anybody else. I make music for me. Basically meaning I make my music as in I wrote this song because I wanted to hear a song like this and it didn't exist. So I made it. Or I heard something similar and I'm like, I would write it like this. So I made it. So that's basically, I think it's the difference between me and type beat producers. I do make hip hop beats, but I also do produce, any type of genre that I feel like, creating. Whether it be indie, rock, generic term to use, but rock music, hip hop, or R&B. Because on my EP that's coming out pretty soon, I dabble in a lot of it, all four of those.
So let's talk about that. Actually, you do have an EP coming out soon.
Yes, I do.
Okay, when can we expect it?
The EP will be dropping Friday. What day is Friday?
Friday will be
11th.
The 11th.
Yes, sir. The 11th. Okay. Yep.
And can you tell us a little bit more about it? What could we expect? How many tracks?
The EP is titled Cul-de-sac Dreams.
Okay.
And it is a total of 6 tracks. Tracks that vary between my array of musical influences and my musical choices. A lot of guitar on it, a lot of synthesizers on it, a couple instrumental tracks on there too, actually, out of the 6, because I am a producer first before I decided to even be in a band or be an artist. But the EP is basically kind of like a culmination of all of my influences and the people and environment that have inspired me for the past, I would say, 3 years.
Can you name some artists that would influence you, that have direct influence in this EP?
In this EP? Let's see. Definitely have a direct influence to Jacob Ogawa on the single track with my homie Venus, who actually goes to Long Beach. But yeah, she goes to Cal State Long Beach. Yeah, we have a song out called Cruise on my SoundCloud. It is on you can find the link sorry, on my Instagram, which I will be plugging at the end of this talk. So yeah. But other than that, with the EP, I kind of just wanted to say I don't care what I make. I don't care whether it necessarily fits genre wise in other people's heads. I just want to make different parts of music that I enjoy and let it blend. It still fits, but I would never say any of the songs are from the same genre. But it's not a drastic thing to where it just sounds like you press and shuffle on Spotify.
So it's what you would say smorgasbord of different tastes and varieties.
Yeah.
That all blend together into one cohesive meal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. Interesting. So, one thing I want to ask you is that you started from scratch. What I mean from scratch is that no one assisted you in anything. Like, they didn't give you money to start from bottom. No. You weren't bought out by anyone. You're not signed, at least not yet.
Nope.
What would you tell the people that also want to start from the bottom? They have no other way of climbing that ladder of the music industry, which is a very big industry and
yes,
very
it is.
dog-eat-dog industry
yes,
in and
yes,
of itself.
It is.
So what would you tell these people?
There's a couple things I'll tell people. Number one, there's a huge misconception that there's not enough money to go around for all of y'all. Like there's not enough money to be had. There's not a deal for you. There's too many people. Bro, there's so much money to be spared in this industry for you. Like, y'all don't understand. Like there is money there for you, and you can stay independent. The only thing I would say, if you are looking for a deal, if that's what you want to do, I'll start with that. You should take, my professor always told me at Citrus College in the audio engineering program, his name is John Boylan, accolades on accolades as an engineer, a manager, and, you know, he's also in the Eagles documentary that just recently came out. But he said it's called the John Mayer paradigm, and basically what that means is, like, John Mayer, when the internet was just booming in, like, it was like 98, 99, right before he's coming up. He moved from Berkeley in Boston. He was going to Berkeley School of Music, went to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, with his homie. And out there, he was making all of his music, putting it out on a website online with MP3s that were live recordings of the shows he was doing, and just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And by doing that, he was able to get a following. Labels are lazy. People got to understand, labels are lazy. They want you to do the work first, and you're not going to be able to change that. You have to put in the work, because that's the only way it's going to work. And that's if you want a label to find you, if you really want a deal. The problem with that is that I would say is people say they want a deal, and that's cool, but most deals you do not own the rights to your masters. Your masters basically means the mastered 2-track file of all your songs. And without that, you basically do not own the song. The label does. And at a certain point in your life, you would have to buy them from the label. And to do that, you would have to get pretty big. So basically, usually how a label will do it is like, all right, here's the deal. We have a contract. We're going to give you, let's say, $1 million, and we got you under 3 albums. You make those 3 albums, they give you $1 million. Whatever the parameter of the contract is, whether it be a year, whether it be once those 3 albums are done. But after all that, you do not own those songs.
Interesting. So that would explain. Actually, it's been a lot of artists that I could think of off the top of my head. I don't want to name any names, but the first one that came to my head was the deal that XXX and Tashion had with them. I believe Empire Records.
I think it was Empire.
Yeah. And I just figured out today that they're actually releasing a 4th studio album.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
What was the name?
I think it's Members Only Volume 4.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It just seemed like they're really trying to stretch the buck here.
Yeah, for nothing, because they know that they can.
Yeah, like they're not even trying to value
his death,
his life, his life, or anything. And be that as it may,
well, even with all the controversy around
him,
it's still like, bro, you ain't got to pimp out his death.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Homie did still get shot. I am not glorifying X by any means. Like, I'm not saying, like, he has such a huge legacy or nothing, because the accusations that he has, and, even though technically in court they were not proven, I'm going to stand by the victim and say that they definitely happened, because you can only take the victim's word for it in that kind of situation. And I'm not supporting him, but to do this on a label, it's just sleazy.
Exactly.
It just doesn't look right.
Exactly. And he's not the only one that's prone to this type of predatory contracting by label companies. Another one I was
definitely
thinking
not.
of.
Think of Michael Jackson's Escape album.
I was just about to bring him up.
Yeah.
And how go forward on that.
Well, basically, like in Michael Jackson's Escape album, I think it was his label. I don't know if he was still on Motown, like the bigger version of Motown. I don't know. But I know he had his own affiliate label, a sub-affiliate label. But I'm not sure what label he was on. But his label, whoever they were, got contacted by Justin Timberlake to finish that album. Like, hence the reason why Justin's on a couple of those songs. But it was just like, why are we putting out all these songs on this album? What was it, like 2 years after his death? When Michael Jackson is one of the most notoriously known perfectionists in the entire music industry, and he has vaults of songs that are undone and not put out. Like, bro, like if they did this with Prince, it'd be just as bad, if not worse. Like, Prince is known like to have thousands of songs just sitting on his hard drives and vault at his estate that his estate owns. And the thing with Michael is that the fact that they put that out was just kind of like, I mean, some good songs came out of it, but I'm guarantee you he's rolling in his grave.
Oh,
he's
definitely.
Like,
that's
he's
definitely
like, I
true.
didn't want this to be released
That's
to the
definitely
world.
True. There's actually a lot of because when you said Justin Timberlake, it reminded me of a conversation I had with my coworker back when he used to work at Sprouts, and he told me that he believed that Justin Timberlake would be the next Michael Jackson.
Could have been.
I don't think.
Well, not really.
I don't think it's applicable anymore after his last release.
That last album was
not
trash.
good. But that actually reminded me of a conversation I had with him. Who would you say is the next Michael Jackson? Given
There ain't no other Michael Jackson.
there has to be someone that could not replace Michael Jackson, but someone who is relatively close.
That's hard because you can't achieve that same kind of stardom again, in my opinion.
Okay, can I? Well, not the stardom, but music legacy.
Okay, well, if I have to say based on music, it hasn't been long enough yet. That's too hard because he died in 2009. It's only been 10 years. The only person I could possibly think of in the music repertoire that's getting to the point to where like they're running pop music right now, like Michael Jackson was for a while, I have to say possibly Bruno Mars. Like that's the closest that you can get at the moment. Not saying that he's, can dance, can reinvent and innovate like Michael did. That's the thing that I'm trying to say. Like, there ain't no other Michael.
Yeah, there's not. Let's just put it out there. There's not going to be another Michael Jackson. There's going to be someone who's going to come relatively close.
Yeah.
Well, not even relatively close. There's going to be someone that's going to be closer than others.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
My take is that the next Michael Jackson is Donald Glover.
You think so?
Yeah.
Donald?
Yeah, why not?
Mm.
Why not?
I'm thinking about it.
Can you not see it?
I kind of can.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I had to take a little.
he's got his hand in so many jars. Like, it's just
I feel like if he really just put his foot in music and just stood there.
I mean, he did kind of for a minute.
Yeah, and then
was because of the internet.
Yeah.
He was.
If he just
locked
stood there
in the studio
and just told himself, "I'm not doing anything else," I feel like it would be pretty good. And I feel like he might actually become the next Michael Jackson. So currently we are.
I think he's too old now.
Yeah, that is very true.
I think he's too old now.
What is he? 35.
Yeah, he's getting up there. I don't
Christ.
even think he would ever want to be that.
Honestly, and that's very true.
And so I don't even see that.
He wants to
happening.
be more of a
But I
Renaissance
think the
man.
only person who's up there that seems like somebody that would want to aspire to that kind of accolade is Bruno Mars.
Fair enough.
Like,
Fair enough. Okay, so we got to wrap things up. So Malik, would you like to please give us your final remarks?
final remarks. My name is Malik Howard. One more time, aka known as Q, KYU. You can find me on SoundCloud. You can find my SoundCloud through my IG, Instagram that is, and my Twitter at QWho, KYUWHO on both platforms. On IG, there's an underscore in between the KYU and WHO. EP dropping on the 11th of January. So please be on the lookout for that and check out our single, Cruise, with me and at Soul is Venus on SoundCloud, on IG, and on Twitter as well. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Thank you all, guys, for tuning in and Talking with Spencer program. I will see you guys very, very soon.
Signing out.